Here we go. It is time for a little Legally Served. It's time to welcome in Attorney Franz Borghardt. What's happening, dude?
Good morning, fellas. To the listeners, to the viewers, Alondra, Brian, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Hump day, baby.
Yeah, got to enjoy it. Got to love it.
Lots to talk about. I'm letting you listen. I did not bring up the Trump trial.
No, I did. I did. It was meant to be a 90-second one-off for the beginning of the show.
That was not our plan today.
Because it is national news.
Right.
I'm a local show, but it's also historic in nature, and I did not want it to not go mentioned. But at the same time, though, I wasn't going to eat up a bunch of airtime over something that all the national punditry, like, what are you going to get from me that you're not going to get from Fox or CNN tonight?
I think the only thing, again, it's the Brian Haldane show, but the only thing I think that
was technically mornings with Brian Haldane.
Right. But one of the questions I get asked often is,
it's definitely not Brad the Builder.
Right. Brad the Builder. Who would want to watch that?
All right.
So, shout out to Brad Bourgeois. People ask me all the time, why is it that I can watch national court cases around the country, but not Louisiana? Not Louisiana courts.
But wait, be very, very careful when you say this. National, yes. Federal, no.
I've never seen
Well, because federal court rules prohibit cameras in the courtroom.
Right.
But this is something that, A, we've never seen before. B, affects all of us.
Right.
If not tangibly, then emotionally, it affects everybody in some way, shape, or form. Donald Trump has become the most polarizing character in our nation's history.
I'd like to think I know a little bit about President Trump. And I'd like to think that out of all the people on the planet, President Trump would want this thing televised live.
Absolutely.
Real time. I would suspect you're going to see a motion at some point to do just that. To make sure that there's not a, quote, miscarriage of justice. That being said, the bigger topic is, do you feel like, and this is a local question, do you feel like when you watch the news media, not singling anybody out, when you watch the news media, are you getting an accurate portrayal of what happened in a courtroom?
Good question, because there is an answer to that. There are multiple answers to that question. It depends on whether or not you're talking about something that affects us in our backyard. The more local it is, the more I can know whether or not it's accurate.
Right. I have sat in a courtroom before on a case that's not mine, watching something high profile, and I'm sitting next to a reporter who's now retired, and he's posting on social media live in real time, and I looked at him and I said, whatever your name is, dude, are you in a different courtroom? That didn't just happen.
Right.
And he smiled, and I said, no, really. There are nuances to what happened in a courtroom that sometimes the media doesn't get right. Sometimes the media reports stuff from a skewed angle. Look, I think I'm fair and balanced, but to be sure, I would acknowledge that on certain topics, I'm quite sure I'm biased. Yeah. Now, I'm not reporting media. I'm giving commentary, so there's a difference there. But my point is let it rip, man. Let there be a camera in there. What is the harm, with the exception of protecting the jury, because they didn't sign up. The jury didn't sign up to be made famous on social media.
Right.
They are mandated by the law to serve.
Yeah, quite the opposite. More times than not, quite the opposite. Every once in a while, you'll have the juror that signs up to write a book later.
Right. Give them that. Here's your bone.
Right.
But point is, there's certain safeguards you'd have to set in. But look, and this is not a shameless, hey, I'm on court TV every week. I watch live court across the country. And I got to tell you, I'm not seeing the downside of it.
There are a couple of downsides, and we'll get into them in a little bit. We got a break coming up in less than a minute, though. In fact, 30 seconds from now, we'll meet up with ABC News, who will have a lot more on this as well. So we're going to check ABC News. We'll check our local news, traffic, weather. Here's the spoiler alert for the weather. It's hot. Gonna be for the foreseeable future. But yes, we'll check our local news. We will check traffic. We will check weather. Coming back, it's Legally Served with Attorney Franz Borghardt. We do this every Wednesday as part of Mornings with Brian Haldane, and we will continue next at 6:30. Trump wasn't the most American ever. Why was he born on Flag Day? God damn it. You going to Rotary today? You signed up to catch a little governor?
I did not sign up.
Governor!
I've got
Come to John Bell.
I've got an unpleasant morning looking ahead. I've got dentist followed by trip to the dentist followed by court, and then I've got some stuff, and then I've got a nap in the Adoration Chapel coming later this afternoon at 2:00.
Oh man, I wish I could do adoration in the day.
So I'm a sub. So
Yeah.
I just click and you and I have different schedules, but like at 2:00 in the afternoon,
my hour's 4 a.m. on a Saturday.
I don't. Yeah.
Just in case I ever,
The problem with
want to
that
get
is-
up at 4 a.m. again.
So the problem with this, and I mean this with the utmost reverence to the entire topic, if I'm in there at 3 or 4 a.m., I need coffee. And I know people have brought Yeti cups in there before. I'm not ready to do that.
No, me neither. And it's because it's so like well adorned and beautiful in there. Right. You don't want to be the guy who makes the coffee stain on the carpet. Right. But at the same time, though, I don't know. My relationship with the Adoration Chapel is not the best.
I don't know what to say about that.
Well, yo, Rocco's in this morning. What's up? Sure enough, you bring up Brad the Builder, or I bring up Brad the Builder, and it's like a bat signal went off for Rocco, right?
Alejandro, I love you. He's watching from. He's in the Smokies. I need a picture of you at Dollywood, Rocco. I hear Dollywood is like a thing. I never been.
Yeah. We didn't. So we went to Gatlinburg a few years ago. We did not go to Dollywood. We actually stayed in Sevierville, which I find a
bad name for a
right. Yeah, it sounds like it's got blood pressure issues. Yeah, we did the whole what's Pigeon Forge?
Pigeon Forge.
Yeah, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, downtown Gatlinburg was fantastic. Chrissy and I fell in love with moonshine. It's not like moonshine, like bathtub moonshine. It's like these flavored.
So there is mainstream moonshine.
Yeah,
which is like
it's like
safe to drink.
It's like 60 proof at worst.
It's like Breaking Bad meth.
Right.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's it's like the Malibu or the Captain Morgan of moonshine.
Yeah.
Like you're not getting something that's straight out of Havana, but at the same time, you're getting something that's good for a good high school party. Yeah. But we go to the Old Smoky distilleries, and you give them $5, and then they give you 13 samples. And 13 samples is a sample. It's like a couple drops.
And you're at a higher elevation.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Does that play into it?
Rocky Mountain High. Well, that's about something else.
Yeah. Well, but it's also the different mountain chain. You're not in the Rockies. John Denver.
The Donald Trump legal team didn't call me up to get me on board. I was a little.
I can't imagine.
I'm a federal criminal defense attorney. I'm really good. I mean, do you know how expensive that legal team is going to be? And the question is from where can he pay for that? Is that a campaign expenditure that he can pay for that? Can he fundraise? I mean, he's got money, obviously, but I mean, I'm telling you, that kind of federal defense, millions. And how would you like to have Donald Trump as a client? Can you imagine that?
No, I would not.
You're fired.
No, I would not like to have Donald Trump as a client any more than I would like to have Gordon Ramsay as a restaurant guest. How about that? That's a decent one. Why did I burn that one for just Facebook? Huh? Oh. Pigeon Forge Little League Baseball. The Cal Ripken Fields. Is it got a water tower that's painted like a baseball? Is that right?
Rocco, you want to go to Omaha? I don't have tickets or anything, but
no.
How much are those tickets? Are those ridiculous?
Everything in Omaha, especially when LSU goes there, Omaha jacks up the prices of everything.
There ain't nothing,
like as a city.
There ain't nothing in Omaha other than college baseball and
well, yeah, they have minor league ball as well, but not during the College World Series. But yeah, the moment they know LSU's coming, everything goes up by $4, like across the board.
Okay.
And you know what? We're here for it.
Well, I mean, if they win a national title, yeah.
Regardless, having the reputation of the LSU takeover is bigger than.
Do we really take it over more than all the other schools? Which is weird because it's not exactly an easy drive or flight.
Yeah.
I mean, do you fly directly into Omaha or to like Chicago and then rent a car or what?
You know what? I don't even know.
They probably have a major airport in
never
Omaha.
been.
I'm assuming they have a major airport in Omaha. Lots of corn. A lot of cornfields.
All right. It's going to be another hot one. Let's get a look at that forecast. Here's WBRZ meteorologist Jason Wheat.
Wheat.
Yeah, you can direct flights to Omaha. Round trip. $147 flight. That's not bad. No, I don't want to.
Wheat.
Ooh, no, that's way more expensive. $275. 300 is the highest one. That's if you're leaving Thursday. Oh no, that's the end of August. That's got to be even higher right now. All right. 637 WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. 80 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge to start off your morning. We're asking the question this morning in our Legally Served segment with attorney Franz Borghardt. Should the Trump trial be televised from gavel to gavel? Federal court rules prohibit this, but I think we can all agree this one's a little bit different.
This will be litigated. I cannot imagine Donald Trump, President Trump. I cannot imagine him letting this trial happen without some kind of litigation to allow the American people to see the travesty that is him being prosecuted.
Hang on. Why?
Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he want the American people to see the way he's being railroaded?
In the off chance that he's not being railroaded and we're all being fed a line of you know what?
Right. He could be. I mean, that could be true. So generally, here's the thing. And look, I got no dog in this hunt. I wasn't hired by the Trump legal team.
This is your pregame show for when you're asked about it on Court TV.
Yeah.
Make no mistake, you're going to be asked about this on Court TV.
So here's the thing. Just keep this in the back of your mind. Federal prosecutors generally don't bring cases unless they're really good. Doesn't mean that everybody accused of a crime in the federal system is guilty, and it doesn't mean that everybody in the federal system is convicted. But we ain't in a podink city court or state court in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So just keep in mind it's going to be a clash of the titans, which I like. I like me some good old-fashioned...
Absolutely. There is no defense attorney that wouldn't want this case. There is no... I mean, because Donald Trump will have some pretty deep pockets to pay for this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can't imagine the defense attorney doesn't want this as the resume builder.
Does this adversely affect his run for president? I don't think that being a convicted felon is...
No, because his run for president, his being convicted as a felon is the ultimate goal of the prosecution.
Right.
Or the ultimate goal of the left, because it would disqualify him from holding office beyond that.
Right.
But no, this is one that on the defense side, someone is going to be a star. He's probably going to have somebody who's already a star who just further strengthens their stardom. But this goes for both sides too. For the prosecution side, you're getting somebody hungry.
So what I love about this is generally my ilk, my criminal defense brethren and sisters, are generally not the sort of folks that President Trump would invite over to dinner. We are generally not far right. I mean, there are those of us that are right or middle right, but generally we're not far right. Now, there are those of us too that are freaking mercenaries.
Yeah.
Pay me and I'll dance.
Yes.
I'll be your private dancer.
Yes.
So, point is I'm interested to see who he hires too, because, it's kind of like a white supremacist having an African American criminal defense attorney. That has happened before. We know that that's happened before. Now, I'm not saying that political affiliation is the same thing as racism, But point being is, I'm curious to see who the legal team is for President Trump. I'm curious to see how he funds it. I mean,
Okay, but these things you'll find out with or without cameras in the courtroom. Cameras in the courtroom, I think.
I want to see him testify.
Should we?
I want to see him testify.
That unfettered access. And I ask it knowing full well the entire nation does not have a law degree.
So generally the way we get around this is you can get a transcript of the entire trial, but you lose the nuances of I mean, it's paper. You're reading what happened.
Right.
They could theoretically release the recordings at some point after, but it's not real time, right? Like in some of the court TV cases, you can watch real time a witness testifying.
Yes.
The questions being asked the witness, the answers. So I don't think you're going to get that. I don't think you're going to get that. I don't think that's going to be allowed. But, you know, this is, I will say this, Brian Haldane, I will say this. If there ever was an instance where you might have an argument for it should be allowed, it's this case. This is a case that from the perspective of, assuming Congress doesn't make a law that says, hey, when you prosecute a former president, it will be televised. This is a case that could supply the national public, United States citizenry, with a bolstered and renewed faith in our justice system by being able to watch it. I think this is an opportunity.
I don't know.
I think it's an opportunity.
No, but even with that opportunity, we're not going to sit down from wire to wire and watch this thing. We all still have our lives to lead, which means we're going to watch it selectively, which is part of the problem with televising.
Well, the other thing is, not to interrupt you, but the other thing is the three of us can watch a trial
and see three different things.
Yeah,
I know. And especially if you're watching it selectively, which is where I was going with this, was you run the risk of all of America seeing the one part that they see and having that as their takeaway as if they've watched the entire thing. You run the risk of having, I watched 5 minutes of it, so now I believe this, and I'm not going to move off my position for it. You can watch 5 minutes that makes you entirely sympathetic to Trump. You can watch 5 minutes that makes you want to put him under a jail. It's the idea of backing off of a preconceived notion.
Right. So let's all be intellectually honest. If you loved Trump before this, you're not going to change.
Right.
If you hated Trump before this, you're not going to change. It's not like the people that hate Trump are going to watch this trial and say, you know, they really are railroading him.
So, okay, but you allow for that opportunity, though. You forced someone to have to look at it through an unfiltered lens, rather than, man. I'm still torn on this one, Franz. I don't have a take.
You didn't.
I don't have a take.
You didn't want to talk about this.
I know, and this is why.
And by the way,
it's like making the sausage. I have no clue right now.
By the way, we had some good topics, guys. We had some good topics. We got time for
no, the back end. The last we have from 55 to the top of the hour. We'll talk about the rest, or from 52 to the top of the hour.
I think the historical. So here's the. We have a time in our history where people are more, all sarcasm on my part aside, all hyperbole. We have a historical time period right now where people are most interested in the voyeurism that is our justice system. Yes. They want to watch. They want to be involved in true crime. They want to solve the crime. They watch the documentaries. They do. This is the history point. The pin is right here where we want this. We have a former president that is being prosecuted on a national stage because in part, and people may disagree with me, and because in part he's running for president again. I don't think, whether you think that he committed a crime or not, I suspect if he wasn't running for president again, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Me too.
And I'm not a Trump sympathizer.
There you go. So there's another part of this that we got to talk about as well, and that is the idea or the reality that an experiment that is being observed changes the nature of the experiment. Hear me out, all right? Congress acts differently when they know they're on C-SPAN than they do behind closed doors. You would see a different product because it's televised than you would if it weren't televised.
Okay.
If you are watching C-SPAN or C-SPAN 2 and you see these over the top, fire and brimstone speeches, the things that divide us as a nation, the I'm pointing the finger at the other side of the aisle crap that we see all the time, it is because it's on television and it's because it's going to be seen by my base and it's going to drum up contributions and whatnot. I believe that televising this would change the nature of the trial itself.
Sure. That happens in every case.
Okay, but now we've gotten away from the original point of the daggone trial.
Well, so it changes the nature of the trial, but to external things that have nothing to do with the trial. Will President Trump use this as an opportunity to raise money? We have to save President Trump. He's going to raise
1,000%.
He's going to raise tons of money as a result of this.
He's being fitted for orange suits to make it look more sympathetic, like he's in a prison jumper. He's being persecuted.
Orange on orange.
Yeah,
he's been known to wear orange on orange
as well.
Yeah,
well crafted.
So my point is there's always a systemic effect. I don't know, man. I don't know.
All right, we got more to cover. Let's break for your money now and come back. It's 6:47.
So speaking of experiments, Alondra, I have taken social media off my main phone.
Really?
And I'm only going to be posting for the next 30 days business marketing related stuff on social media on this phone.
Okay.
I'm going to eliminate personal social media for 30 days just to see.
Good for you.
Just to see what happens. Could you do it? Could you do no personal social media for 30 days?
Yes, 100%.
Allowing for you to do like your Talk 107.3 promo.
Yeah.
Allowing you to do that.
I would just as soon walk away from all of it if I could.
If I had the budget to have a marketing person,
yeah,
and say your job is to do this, so I don't ever have to get on there.
100%.
Troy brings up a good point. Doesn't SCOTUS live stream the audio and oral arguments? I think they do, actually, Troy.
Okay, but then at that point, what's the difference? Well, I guess audio.
Well, the audio you can listen to.
If you had audio and not video, it would make it infinitely worse.
So I think that's the compromise by a federal court is we'll let you listen, right? Because the problem's also going to be, here's the other problem we haven't talked about. A lot of times they televise because the courtroom isn't big enough to accommodate the public. The public has a right to watch. Right? So the live streaming is not so that you in Baton Rouge, Louisiana can't get into the Manhattan courtroom. It's so that Manhattan citizens or Florida, whatever, so that citizens can actually get in and watch. You have a constitutional right. That's going to be his argument. I have a right to a public trial. By the way, Opie's Thursday. Shout out to Opie's, my boy. Thursday, Opie's. Oh, your healthcare, your health and I got you.
I'm supposed to go weigh in today, but something came up where I've got a new sponsor on the show starting next week, and I've got to meet with them, which would push me back till after 1 p.m. to go out to Go Slim, which Go Slim Nutrition is no longer on Bluebonnet at Perkins. They moved a while ago, and I've been forgetting to mention that. They're on, was that street in between Essen and Bluebonnet? Suma, with all the medical offices and whatnot. Yeah. Suma.
Weep.
They're over on
Cool Weep.
Suma. Cool Whip. Galen says, my problem with the Trump prosecution is the inconsistent application of the, quote, law. I'm stop right there. It's not what we're talking about today. I get it. I don't disagree with you at all. But I'm asking the question about the trial of a former president. Should it be televised? You know what? We're not done with this. Shit. We're not done with it. I've got so many more questions. We might not be done at 7 o'clock with this.
Well, that's an excellent excuse for me not to go to the dentist. My dentist is a Mercy guy.
Which one of the local ones did you want to talk about? Because we are going to hit one.
I actually...
The caregiver?
Yeah, I think the caregiver one is a...
Because it's Beth Claiborne? That's a fancy name. So fancy.
I never had an interior designer at my house.
That mic was off on purpose.
I missed the tour yesterday. I missed the tour.
What tour?
They went to New Orleans. So I'm gonna be out of town next week. I may be in Atlanta.
Yeah.
If the Atlanta thing doesn't pan out, I'm gonna go make a little pilgrimage either to another place, Alabama,
Dollywood,
Birmingham.
Oh,
There's the
EWTN studios, huh?
the church. But yes, I'd like to go to Covington for a day and do the Abbey, like just stay in the Abbey for a day. Well, I'm going to do the entire day. I mean, I guess they wouldn't kick me out. I mean,
No.
Could you do like how much time do you need for the Abbey? Half a day?
Half a day.
Okay.
Half a day. Get there after lunch, stay through Vespers. I mean, there's really, like, you can walk the grounds a little bit.
You sit in the chapel?
Yes.
Church? Okay. I've never been, so I don't know if it's a big church, chapel.
Gorgeous,
Okay.
by the way. Get there before they start to take in all the artwork. If you can find someone there to give you because I don't think they do official tours.
But somebody.
But there's
Can I name drop? Brian Haldane.
No, they won't know me at all. There's a lot of history behind the artwork inside there, local history, not like you'll learn about the artists and all that stuff. It's fantastic, but it's not a full day. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. 652, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, holding it 80 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Attorney Franz Borghardt in for Legally Served as part of Mornings with Brian Haldane. I thought we were done.
I think it's important.
I thought we were done with the Trump trial. I thought we were moving on, but there's more questions to come.
And I think it's important for the listeners and viewers who are just tuning in. We're not talking about whether or not he did or didn't do anything. We're talking
completely not talking about.
We're talking about.
Thank you for resetting that.
Well, and look, I think that, and I'm a geek on this topic. I think the topic that we were trying to talk about is, should trials be covered, live stream, televised, whatever word you want to. I mean, it's live stream now. That's what we're really talking about. And in particular, should this trial, the prosecution of a former president who may or may not be running for president, should that be televised based on the nature of who he is? Right? O.J. Simpson was televised. It was a state prosecution of a criminal case. Now, I don't know about you. There were portions of the O.J. Simpson trial that they brought a TV into the classroom for me, and I watched. The verdict, I watched the verdict in the classroom.
Okay.
It was O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
I mean,
I watched the verdict in Foster Cafe on LSU's campus.
Yeah, but it's not like a national. But I mean, if you think about it, that was not a nationally.
No, but, and this is a separate point, it was celebrity based.
Well,
it was celebrity based,
here,
and this
though.
is what this is celebrity based. This wouldn't be a question if he weren't political, if he weren't the president, the former leader of the free world.
He was a celebrity, arguably a celebrity before being
Not
president.
even arguably, he was 100% a celebrity before he was president. But it changes the nature of the game. There ought to be some level of decorum when it comes to the institutions that have run this country since its foundation. There ought to be some level of no. This has to be applied differently because it's what's run this country.
So does he get treated differently because he's a former president, or does he get treated differently because he could be
a future president?
Future president.
Yeah, good question.
And if you think about this, there's been other presidents that could have been prosecuted for crimes that weren't. Historically. If you took 5 minutes to do a little bit of Googling, you could probably make a list.
So there's one more aspect of this, and I did want to get to at least one local story before we get you out of here. There's one more aspect of this. Let's say you put 3 cameras in the courtroom. Okay? Obviously, you're pointing one at Trump, fixed on Trump the entire time, right?
One at the federal podium.
One at the podium where you would have judge and witness in frame. The third one would be available to go back and forth between prosecution and the gallery.
Okay.
And I think that is where I would put the kibosh on this whole thing. Because when I said an experiment that's witnessed changes the nature of the experiment, if you have the opportunity to have people in the audience, which there will be,
right?
This will be max capacity the entire time.
Constitutional right to a trial.
Absolutely,
trial.
yes. So if the public is there and the public knows they're on TV, that will change the nature of reaction. You would probably see more disruption if they know they're on TV. You would probably see people show up on both sides of the aisle, on both sides of the coin here, either to make a point in favor of, a demonstration in favor of, or a demonstration against Donald Trump. You would see more people disrupting this trial to make a point about why hasn't Hunter Biden been prosecuted.
Well, you don't not have public trials because of disruption.
I know, but that also was not written into anything based off of television.
So I can only tell you what I've observed. Likely what would happen is they would have a satellite room in the federal courthouse that would air for the public that are in the courthouse. Like there'll be a spillover room, so to speak, because these galleries are not uber huge. The media will probably be the ones in the actual courtroom. I'm just telling you, this is what I've observed, because the media are least likely to.
The media is a very vague term these days as well.
Well, right, but they're least likely to have the loud, outlandish outburst in the middle of court.
Yeah.
Right, your CNN correspondent is not going to sit there and throw cow blood on President Trump.
I understand that.
So this will be a topic I think we can talk about again.
And we will. Okay. And we will. We got about 2.5 minutes left in this segment. There was a local story that I did want to touch on, and I'm grabbing this from WBRZ. Chris Nakamoto over WBRZ posting this one up. The caretaker of the husband of a prominent interior designer in Baton Rouge was indicted last week for exploitation of the infirmed.
Right.
Beth Claiborne Interiors sits at the corner of Perkins and Highland Road near I-10, offers opulence and luxury design services to the wealthy. Unbeknownst to Claiborne, 20 days before her husband's death, his caretaker, Melba Bro, named herself in his will.
Right.
How? First
She's
of all,
kind of a big, by the way, this woman,
Beth Claiborne?
Kind of a big deal.
Very big deal.
You're not going to find her stuff in Brad the Builder's house.
No, he's getting there. But you are going to find her stuff anywhere, like best of the best, right? Anybody who's in the supper club might be on the path to hiring Beth Claiborne.
Right.
She declined to do an on-camera interview with WBRZ, but said the will was drafted to benefit Bro while Garrett Claiborne was battling dementia. She said the caretaker had only been around for about 4 months when the will was changed.
Let me say this. As someone whose mother is suffering from severe dementia, I got zero tolerance for this kind of BS.
100%.
And when you prey on the infirmed, and her felony charges are going to be something of that nature, right? Like theft from the infirmed or whatever, or attempted. Caregivers should not. They should not be named in wills, especially of people that have dementia.
Yes,
that's just not. It's not a good thing.
Well, when there's family around too.
Right.
I mean, when you have family around who is perfectly capable, there is zero reason to make the switch. But my question is on the lines of recourse. How does this play out, and how do we get to where we can right this wrong?
So one, you can invalidate the will and say that he didn't have the capacity to write that. Number two, she gets prosecuted for what she did,
which can be up to 10 years in prison if I read the story right.
Right. And three, the legislature can look at this and say, hey, do we need to tighten up some laws on this? But they really don't, right? There's a civil recourse where the family can challenge, and then she gets prosecuted. Now, shame on the news affiliate. I'm going to throw this out there.
No.
If we have time.
We don't. We have 15 seconds.
No, never mind.
All right. Nakamoto made a reference to another trial that I don't think is as unnecessary as Franz. Tell you what, we'll talk about that as we hit ABC News coming up at the top of the hour. ABC News coming your way next, and then hour 2 follows right here on Talk 107.3 FM. All right, Facebook. The last paragraph of the story reads, in 2017, the WBRZ investigative unit exposed Tasha Clark Amar at the Council on Aging. She named herself in one of her elderly clients' wills and was set to benefit thousands of dollars until she was exposed as well. Clark Amar backed away from the will after she was exposed. So I don't think it's necessarily, yes, I realize it's tangential.
It's messy.
But at the same time, though, if you want a point of reference of how these things can play out or have played out in the past, I have two that I can go off of.
Was Tasha Clark a actual caregiver?
No. Is it Tasha or Tasha? I thought it was pronounced Tasha. Anyway, Clark Amar was with the Council on Aging,
right,
which provides whatever ambiguous services at the exorbitant amount they get out of our budget they do their thing. Go ahead, have at it. All right. But to name yourself in any way, shape, or form for somebody representing the public to name themselves is egregious.
Optics.
Yes,
it's bad optics.
It absolutely is. But it's an example for us to cite for, okay, how has this played out in the past? For Clark Amar, she was able to back away. That's what I'm asking about for the point of reference is, will Bro be able to say, whoa, I had Claiborne's best interest in mind. If that doesn't look like that's the opinion of the court, then I will step away.
An individual can always forfeit an item in a will.
Mm-hmm.
They can always say, no, I don't want this. Okay? I don't know that that's going to be enough in this case. Yeah. I think a prosecutor is going to say, no, sweetheart. You went extra level. So anyways,